Life with glow-in-the-dark condoms. Don't go away.
There was a war going on out here.
Tonight,
Shots fired.
on 48 Hours,
Police, search warrant!
Looks like crack cocaine.
the drug war hits home. And Main Street fights back.
You had surveillance going on in your house.
Every single car that passes through here is tracked.
That's one of them.
The cops,
These are hardcore gangsters.
I had guys walking up and down the street with guns in their pockets.
They're as young as our kids. Take yourself home, okay?
There's another kid that got a 15-year sentence.
the courts,
The courts are overflowing.
A fairly heavy day today.
Grossly understaffed
You want me to make you an offer, huh?
and overworked.
Plea bargaining is what it's about. They got you on tape while you're running back and forth like this and like that. I got to go for it.
the kids,
I was dealing drugs to kids that were in fourth grade.
Why aren't you doing something more than giving them little quizzes?
The only way we're going to reduce the drug use in this country is to reduce the demand.
the neighbors next door.
They told us we didn't know what we were messing with.
You have a gun now that's ready to use?
You bet.
2 days and 2 nights,
This seems so unreal.
Drugs is the mistake of my life.
drug war on Main Street.
On the ground! I'll kill you if you don't get there! On the ground!
America's war on drugs is fought on many fronts. President Bush flew to Colombia last week for a drug summit with Latin American leaders, and politicians on Capitol Hill are debating his new $10.6 billion drug plan. But far away from the headlines and the cocaine capitals, the men and women on Main Street are fighting town by town, block by block. Come along with us to one city, Tacoma, Washington, in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. One city. It could be your city.
Yeah. It's been warmed up.
Yeah, I just want to report, which I believe is to be a crack house.
There's a lot of foot traffic going in and out. They're very blatant about it. They're passing money back and forth.
Voices from Tacoma, Washington, calling in on a special police drug
In a
hotline.
nice neighborhood with lots of kids and lots of innocent people.
These days, citizens are pleading,
I really would appreciate
If something could be done about this,
At least take a drive-by.
begging
It's making me very nervous.
for help in their neighborhoods.
yeah, one of you people is going to do something about this.
On the ground! I'll kill you if you don't get in that tub!
When?
On the ground! You hear me?
When people start shooting people?
Anything about that? No, of course not.
Local cops here are responding to the SOS.
Oh, by golly. Looks like crack cocaine.
The Tacoma Police Department raided over 130 crack houses last year.
Is this the sixth time we've gotten you to crack house?
I haven't been counting.
Haven't been counting.
Drug-related arrests have skyrocketed 100% in this medium-sized city over the past 5 years.
How old are you? How tall are you? Are your wife?
So many people are being arrested here on charges of drug dealing and using. The county jail, now only 5 years old, holds twice the number of prisoners it was built for.
Weapons concerned me then, they concern me now.
Even a special drug court was created to handle the flood of cases.
Are we ready then for the next matter?
Presiding Judge Kelly Arnold.
The courts are overflowing.
Overflowing. You've got the jails.
They're overflowing.
You've got the prosecutor's office and staff.
Grossly understaffed and overworked.
Public defender's office.
Exactly the same.
This is a fairly heavy day today.
Bill Herney is an assistant prosecutor.
You do drugs, right?
Yeah, drugs only.
He sits in this corridor with lawyers and public defenders and plays the role of the gatekeeper for the drug court.
They found him on the floor. They found your guy hiding in a closet. Shouldn't have stopped the car in the first place. I try to go through these cases. I try to plea out the ones that are simple cases. You want me to make you an offer, huh? I just try to get rid of many of these cases as I can on terms that are acceptable to the state. I might be willing to offer something along these like unlawful use of building for drug purposes. A lot of the sentences are too lenient. I think they deserve more time. And I'm making these offers not only to reduce charges, but for less jail time, because we don't have the capacity to handle it and prosecute the way we would like to.
Do you get a lot of repeat offenders here?
We get a tremendous amount of repeat offenders. I would say 70%.
I wish we had less cases to deal with, and I feel like I could do a better job
Mike McNerthney is a public defender assigned to the drug court.
Now it's just almost like assembly line factory. Well, let's make a deal.
Today, McNerthney is negotiating for client Frank Green, charged with selling heroin.
They observed him making numerous hand-to-hand exchanges.
No, I've read in the affidavit, I thought that it was kind of weak on the search.
He could plead guilty to possession and do some drug treatment.
Thank you.
McNerthney, trying to get less time for his client, makes his way through the county jail.
Frank told me that he's in 3 South, which is the maximum security. You have your own room because he's a punch-out artist.
If convicted of selling drugs, Green could go to prison for 4 years.
They got you on videotape.
If Green and the prosecutor accept the deal of possession only, Green could be out in as little as 4 months.
All it's doing is it shows me, socializing with the people around back and forth like this and like that. They got 3 hours of it.
This is the police video allegedly showing Frank Green selling drugs.
It don't show me passing nothing. Okay, well... It shows me having money in my hand, but what do that prove? When they arrested you, then they found a piece of dope in your pocket, and they found $60. And that's what the problem is. They got too much going for it to get involved in this street stuff. How can you think? I don't want to lecture you, man. My job is to get your butt out of jail. True. Listen, and the way we're going to do that is I'm going to go talk to the prosecutor, and I'm going to try to talk him into reducing this charge from possession with intent to deliver to possession. I'd rather just be found not guilty, but then again, I was caught with this illegal substance, Plea bargaining is what it's about. I guess I got to go for it.
The message to the people committing the crimes is that there's no accountability, and that's clear because the same people keep coming back before us.
If they release me today, there's always that chance I'm going to go right back out there and do what I did before I came in here.
So who's the big loser now?
I think the big loser are the people, the community. And I think if more members of the community could be up here and see what really goes on, they'd be very upset too.
Yeah, I just want to report what I believe is to be a crack house.
I think you had numerous calls on it.
Made numerous calls before on this recording.
Police, search warrant!
I really would appreciate somebody coming out and checking this out. It's making me very nervous.
On the ground! On the ground! Hands out! Yes, sir! Hands out! Get out.
A little cheddar makes plain veggies taste better. But take the cheddar cheese away and you can just say,
no way!
'Cause cheddar cheese makes all the difference.
Hooray!
On all kinds of vegetables, cheese makes all the difference.
I don't know about you, but I just don't believe stores that shout 50, 60, 70% off every week. But I do like what Sears does. They give you great low prices every day. And when Sears does have a sale or special price, it really is special.
The Volvo 240 has built a reputation for surviving accidents, and we at Subaru have always been impressed by that. So we gave the new Subaru Legacy wagon unibody construction, like the Volvo 240. But unlike the 240, the Subaru Legacy is available with full-time four-wheel drive and anti-lock brakes. Because the best way to survive an accident is not to get into one.
Bill Falk is a Ranger in the United States Army.
This is a 357 Colt Trooper 3.
He has seen combat twice.
This is me with some locals.
Once in Panama.
And then this is me with a few of my friends.
And once in his own neighborhood.
What were you carrying the night of the battle?
I had a Browning high-powered in a shoulder holster.
That's the battle he's talking about now, the one in his own front yard.
A lot of shots?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They estimated about 300 rounds. I mean, I certainly wasn't keeping count, but, you know, for a good about 10 minutes, yeah, there was quite a bit of shooting.
911, please do fire.
We have shooting right down the street, severe shooting.
Massive gunfire going back here on
23rd Nash.
Right.
My front door got hit. The guy's house next door. His house actually got shot up more than mine because most of the fire came from that direction.
You know, this looks like any street in America, you know, almost any street in America. And you make it sound like there was a war going on out here.
Well, for 10 minutes there was.
Somehow, no one was hurt during this 10-minute war. It took place here on Ash Street in Tacoma. On one side was Bill Folk, some neighbors, and a few of his Army Ranger buddies. On the other side, this house, now vacant, and people they say were using and dealing drugs.
All summer long we had, there was drug dealing going on in the street out here. The cars would pull up and stop for a minute or two. People would get out and they'd purchase whatever it is they were buying,
right
get
out
back
here?
in, and right out here in the street.
So you had surveillance going on in your house?
Oh, yeah. I'd taken videotapes and pictures and all kinds of stuff into the police, and they said, yeah, this looks like drug dealing, and yeah, we think these people are drug dealers, and but there was really nothing they could do about it.
Since the police came around and sat and looked at these crack dealers and did nothing, the crack dealers laughed at them and waved at them and told them to get lost.
Frustrated that the police were not helping, Folk and some of his neighbors organized a block party to talk about what they could do.
You were at the party?
Oh, yeah.
Just your ordinary picnic. There were hamburgers.
There were shotguns. There were semi-automatic weapons.
Semi-automatic
pistols.
weapons.
Pistols.
This is a typical barbecue in Tacoma or what?
On this block at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a gun now that's ready to use?
Yep, you bet.
What kind?
It's just a 22.
Just a 22?
Well, it's a 22.
What's this?
This is one of my friends monitoring the video camera that was upstairs as the camera, and they were moving weapons into the area that afternoon, and we were trying to keep account of, from what we could see, how many rifles, how many handguns.
Folk says the people across the street did not appreciate being taped, and when he refused to stop, they made threats.
Yeah, they told us that they were going to burn the house down and they were going to fire us up after dark, and not to mess with them because we didn't know what we were messing with. When I felt that the threats they made were serious, that it was very likely that we could come under attack, I called some of my friends, other Rangers, friends of mine, and told them what the situation was, told them that I needed help, and they came out.
You called in the cavalry, is what you...
Well, I called my friends. It just happens that my friends are also Rangers, so...
Why didn't you call the police?
Because we had gotten conditioned from the response in calling 911 that, you know, unless the crime is actually being committed and the officer can see it, there's not anything they're going to do about it.
You know, you call 911 and say, hey, guy's out here firing guns. You know, he just popped off 6 rounds.
Did you see the guy that
What
shot?
did he look like? Was he black or white? What kind of gun was it? Wait a minute, he's all the way up the street.
Yeah.
How the hell am I supposed to know? Get somebody up here. Okay, we'll get somebody up there. 15, 20 minutes later, cop comes cruising through. There's nobody there because he walked back and went in his house. You know, and they can't do nothing about it. So you know that they have guns.
So what? Because the police can't deal with the situation, the neighborhood says...
Ooh, for a while.
We're going to arm ourselves?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And that night, it all came to a head?
That night, it all came to a head.
Shots fired?
Yeah, about 100 of them.
Sounds like there's a war going on.
Did you see who fired the shot, sir?
For Christ's sake, no!
You've been called a vigilante?
Yeah, but I don't think so. I don't think I'm a vigilante. I mean, if I was a vigilante, I'd have gone out in the middle of the night and started burning houses and shooting people. You know, everything that I did was right out in the open.
You know, I really hate to disturb you, but, like, could you, like, end this so we don't get our asses shot?
What's the problem?
What's the problem? You guys are making him out to be Superman. The drug cartel in the area is getting real pissed, okay? They're gonna shoot him to find out if he bleeds like Superman, okay? Noriega ain't compared to these guys. I've seen him shoot people. And I don't want to be one of them, okay? Every time he steps out that door, he endangers the lives of everybody on this block, and we're getting sick of it. You know, we respect the fact that he tried, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I respect that greatly because I'm sick of this myself, but there's not a damn thing we can do about it until we get the cops in here to stop this. He's made it worse with that little incident shooting the place up. I still got bullet holes in my window.
Let me see.
Come on down. There was a baby in there. You see the window back there that's blown out? See the holes? Yeah. Down here, up there. See the bullet holes?
Was anybody trying to hit anybody?
No, I told him, I said, don't hit him, because actually I was afraid of being, you know, if we had taken and shot somebody, you know, I was kind of concerned about lawsuits, and I knew that it would be a much more serious incident if that...
Lawsuits? I mean, you could have been convicted of murder if you killed somebody.
Well, there is a self-defense law in the state, and we were within our legal rights in defending ourselves.
It's not clear which side actually shot first. Both sides blame the other. No one at Folk's house was arrested. Police did confiscate all of their weapons, though.
All right, make a left, go straight on down the hallway to the elevators.
The only one in jail in connection with the shootout is Frankie Lee Strickland. He's being held on 6 counts of aggravated assault, and bail set at $500,000.
Did you start the shooting?
No, I didn't.
Strickland says he thinks it was the Rangers who attacked first.
So let me make sure I understand this, Frankie. You and your friends are hanging around, minding your own business, not doing anything illegal at all, not selling any drugs, not buying any drugs, not using any drugs, not shooting anybody.
No.
Or at anybody. And these guys come along, these Army Rangers, and shoot up the neighborhood.
Yep.
You forgive me. I mean, it just doesn't sound like it makes any sense.
That's it.
Can I ask you, I have a picture here. That's you, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is going on here?
It's a weed pipe.
To smoke what?
Weed.
Marijuana?
Yeah.
You guys out there smoking marijuana that evening?
That's it.
That photo was taken the day of the shootout. Strickland had apparently not seen the newspaper that published it.
I think Frankie was the slowest runner that night. Unfortunately, that's why he got caught. No one else got caught.
Doug Tufts is Strickland's lawyer.
So this wild shootout where 300 shots were fired?
I'd say it calls attention to the real problem, the drug problem, and people's concern over young kids getting strung out on drugs and the damage it does to lives.
Jim Pincham was one of the first officers on the scene of the shootout that night. He patrols the Hilltop, which is one of Tacoma's busier drug markets.
What's this?
Exercising their constitutional rights.
To what? Hang out on the street corner?
Yeah.
Do you suspect they're doing drugs?
Well, by the number of arrests that have been made here and the number of contacts and the number of found drugs, I have a feeling that maybe 1 or 2 of them are here to deal or to buy.
So what happens now?
There's nothing we can do to them.
That's precisely why the people we spoke to today say they don't have confidence in the police department.
There's nothing we can do to them. They have a legal right to stand on the street. I do the best I can do with what I have available.
I don't think this is what they had in mind when they talked about the war on drugs. It's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be you.
No.
Or you.
Okay, who is supposed to do it?
The government.
But they don't.
I want to see this dull, dry hair disappear.
This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
It's too much to do before I die.
David Purchase may look a little behind the times, but from his vantage point, he's really ahead of them.
These are all the syringes for today. There's 542 of them, and that'll be today's load.
Okay, let's do it.
David Purchase dispenses syringes and advice to the drug addicts of the Tacoma area.
Yeah, get the wipes and you need any bleach?
Yeah, I grab it.
Okay, there's 2 and 10. Stay alive on it now.
Thank you. It's the oldest needle exchange in the country.
Stay alive on it now.
And it has been challenged in the courts.
Coming up. This is AIDS prevention for people that live on the street and primarily aimed at people who inject drugs. So needle exchange is just a part of the AIDS prevention. And we do the food and condoms, bleach, and all the other things that go along with trying to save people's lives. Well, share your water, your cotton, or your cooker. Contaminated syringes are the primary method of transferring the virus in what is now the fastest growing group of people who are catching the virus in the United States. So that's why we're here. Dos.
Why do you come down to get these things?
So I can stay alive and won't get AIDS.
Do you worry about that a lot?
All the time. I'm a working girl. Yeah, I worry about it. I take that shit home with me every night. The fear.
Do you think that this is prolonging your drug habit?
Nothing prolongs anything. I mean, you know, when I decide I'm going to quit, I'll quit, and this is not going to stop me or make me go on. Right now, it's keeping me alive and safe.
Hello, darling. How are you today? Need any more of those condoms? Okay.
Thank you.
Sure enough. You stay alive on me now.
There's great controversy about this idea of providing clean needles.
Not for me, there isn't. But some of those wipes, too, huh? These are now paid for by the health department. They cost 9.95 cents a piece. For a dime, we can prevent the transmission of the virus each time. And it costs $45,000 to $50,000 a year on average for 2.5 years in this same county to treat somebody who has AIDS.
My friend needs one.
Gotcha, understood.
I call it the cheap program, the cheap way out to deal with the AIDS issue.
Greg Meichland, Tacoma City Councilman. He says the exchange program is illegal. What's the problem that you have with the whole thing?
The whole problem I have with it is that they are giving a needle for injections of illegal substances. It is against the law to do that. I think that handing them a needle is saying, you know, go ahead and continue doing this. We hope you're doing it safe. Instead of going down on the street, talking with them one-on-one, and convincing them that they need to get into a program.
It does not work that way. They're not promoting drugs. Dave goes out of his way to get people to get on the methadone program.
His name is Tom. He is among the true believers and the desperately addicted.
I didn't really get a large, big addiction until I moved out here to little old Tacoma, Washington. To me, it's much easier to buy heroin in Tacoma, Washington than it was in New York City.
Those are the needles.
These are the brand new needles that
you got from
Dave hands out.
Now, what is that?
It's cocaine.
You're mixing with what?
With the heroin.
Tom, this seems so unreal to watch what's going on.
Unreal to you?
Yes.
I guess it is sort of really, if you've never really, seen the whole thing, it is sort of, if you've not been exposed, I mean, I've been exposed to it day by day, every day, and it's sort of...
Well, what's this needle program mean to you?
The needle exchange is not for me, myself, it's for you people. Because that's, the AIDS virus is spread, other than homosexuals, heterosexually by drug addicts. It's for the public to protect them. If a person needs a needle and they need a fix, they're going to use any damn thing that they find.
Tom takes us to the shelter where he's living to talk about his drug addiction. How did you get started on drugs?
I was turned on at a very early age. I was about 13 years old. It was skag, and what do you do with it? You stick it up your nose, and we snorted it, and that's the first time I ever got high.
So you started at 13 and...
More or less on and off since then.
Let me see your arm, if I could. My God, your veins. This is from shooting up?
Right. All of these marks here, down here.
That's from shooting, that dark right there?
Yeah.
That going up here?
Yeah, all the backs of my hands. Terrible.
Pretty sad and miserable.
You're damn right it is. You're damn right it is.
Are you ever going to get off this? Off of drugs?
Hopefully, yes. I want to, yes. Yes, I want to.
Well, if you want to, you talk very intelligently.
You just
You're
don't...
a very articulate man.
You just don't, it's very, I can't describe to you what heroin withdrawal is like. It's not only the physical part of it, the mental part of it it'll drive you crazy.
You have family?
Yeah, I have family, but I don't like to, I mean, my mother and my dad are just starting to enjoy themselves. They're 70, my dad's 70, my mom's 67. And God, I've been a burden to them for so many years. I'd feel terrible to go back there and be a burden on them some more. If I could tell any kids anything, it's just to don't even think about it. I mean, that's drugs is the mistake of my life.
When you hand out those needles, the critics say that you're just giving these people an out to continue their drug habit.
Well, when they have a way to fix it up so in the next 10 days all the folks in this town can quit using drugs and get into treatment, then we can talk. The fact of the matter is, in this town and in virtually every city in America, treatment slots are full. People have to wait weeks, months to get into treatment. These are our faults. I mean, either public health is for everybody, or it isn't. And if public health isn't for everybody, well, then it's just for the people whose behavior we approve of.
But how long do you keep this up?
How long is the virus going to be around? Well, I'm not going anywhere. It's not. They're not.
Last week, the court decided the program is legal. No appeals are planned. For now, David Purchase still tends to Tom and the rest of his flock on the streets of Tacoma.
The way Whirlpool builds appliances, they must know my...
48 Hours will continue.
You're turning James against me.
Beat him in his own game.
When was the last time you felt...
miles north of Tacoma, Seattle. According to a national study, the best place to live in America. Crack-dealing gang members seem to think so, too.
They run the streets. They run it. I own the street. The gangs.
Which ones?
All of them.
Gangs are everywhere. West Seattle,
you can't.
North End.
Crips and Bloods, and they run their territory. They're just people not to mess with, put it like that.
It's scary.
Many of the gangs are transplants from the mean streets of Los Angeles.
You figure we have approximately 70,000 gang members in the county alone. This is where the gangs were born.
Los Angeles Police Sergeant J.J. May tracks the travels of gang members moving from L.A. to the Pacific Northwest.
You know, there's a lot of nice towns getting ruined by these idiots. Seattle's a nice area, and Tacoma's a nice area. And then you got these jerks going up there applying their trades and causing problems.
Well known among the travelers, a 27-year-old L.A. gang member, Derek Hargris.
Boy, they were one of the most violent Crip gangs we had.
His street name is Vamp.
Well, crack is so cheap in L.A., that's basically one of the main reasons for leaving L.A., going to Seattle. The prices vary. I mean, like in L.A., a gram of cocaine might cost $25. In Seattle, a gram of cocaine might cost $120. So that's a big difference. I mean, that's a lot more profit right there.
Vamp's own profit was estimated at $6,000 to $7,000 a day.
Yeah, I'd say that was about average for Seattle.
From 3 Seattle crack houses he ran before police finally caught him.
That's how it goes.
Now he's in Leavenworth Penitentiary.
How were the police in Seattle and Tacoma compared to the police in L.A.?
Soft.
Soft? What's soft? How soft?
Weak, stupid, easy to play around. I mean, in Los Angeles, it's a lot of harassment.
Who's Curtis? You don't have any knives or guns on you, do you?
Who do you hang out with? These guys are gang.
The officers are always pulling you over no matter what you do. If you're walking down the street, driving down the street. And a lot of other cities in towns, you know, it's like the officers don't pay you no attention. I mean, like when I went to Seattle, I mean, I had guys walking up and down the street with guns in their pockets and everything, and the police ride by and they wave at them.
You know, I told you I was going to kick your butt if I caught you hanging with these guys again, didn't I?
I just got here.
Sergeant David Orange and Detective John Hayes work the gang detail for Seattle PD.
Why don't you get yourself squared away and get a job and get out of this stuff?
A unit that did not exist 2 years ago when Vamp and his gang first arrived from Los Angeles.
Now we got a new breed that comes into town. Now, these are hardcore gangsters, but they're as young as our kids. And they're out there selling crack cocaine, they're packing guns. So it took a while to adjust to that.
In just 2 years, Seattle, a city that had never before experienced a drive-by shooting, has had 225 of them, along with 12 gang-related murders.
My men all wear vests. They all carry their weapons. Their weapons are checked out on a regular basis. We just do what is necessary to deal with these people on the street. Because this has no future.
Hey, listen up.
You know, and I'm getting tired of seeing good-looking young kids out here getting blown away for nothing.
Tired and now striking back with a federal task force whose biggest weapon is serious, hard time for those they catch.
What did you think when he said 25 years?
I was shocked. I was mad. I felt like he crossed me.
He's going to be 47 years old when he gets out. He's going to be my age when he gets out.
Federal Judge John Kuhnauer sentenced Vamp and 20 other LA gang members caught and convicted in Seattle.
There's another kid that got a 15-year sentence.
That's from LA?
Yes, this is 12 years, Los Angeles. This is an 18-year sentence, Los Angeles. This is another Los Angeles. That was a 5-year sentence because...
All dealing cocaine.
Yes. The key to it from our standpoint is to try to get the message out. And you do it through sentences. Get the message out to these kids that if you want to deal crack cocaine, Seattle's a bad place to do it.
6-9. Found some cocaine?
Yeah. About 4 rocks.
Since being targeted by the task force, more than 100 LA gang members have been indicted in Seattle.
Take yourself home, okay? Just go on home.
But they have left a legacy of homegrown gangs, eager to make their own mark. So your gang's not like the Crips or the Bloods?
It's fools, for real.
We fight the Bloods and the Crips because they think they're just tougher than us. And they just come up here because there's too much competition up in L.A., and that's why they want to come up here and try to start something.
You think they're trying to make an example of you?
Exactly. They made an example out of me. I mean, it's going around now. Don't go to Seattle. You might get vamped.
What's that mean, vamped?
I mean, you might get, the police might get you.
Like they did you?
Like they did me.
Vamp.
The example, yeah.
Vamp. Everybody know Vamp. Oh, yeah, everybody know Vamp.
He went to jail. That's what happened to him. He could do some time.
You know, things like that. Jokes. It's a joke now.
Vamp. He in jail.
The purest shape ever given to a high-performance sedan is now even purer. There is now soft glove.
You want to go watch? You want to watch with Mom? Want to watch? What do you see out there?
Do you normally keep watch what's going on across the street?
All the time.
Really?
All the time when we're home.
There's trouble. That's right, trouble right here on Tacoma's North Oak Street. There's a car pulling up over there right now. Is that... An alleged drug dealer has moved in right across from Ann Webster.
That's one of them.
Is that one of them?
Yep, that's one of the buyers. Well, we assume's a buyer. I don't know.
One of the buyers. You seen that car before?
Oh, yeah. In fact, we've always complimented that man. Always dresses nice, and he's older. Doesn't look like any of the kids going in.
See here daily?
Uh-huh. Sometimes 3 or 4 times a night.
Today, when the visitor knocked, no one was at home. But Ann and husband Marty say there have been problems ever since the new neighbor moved in.
We experienced it about 11 o'clock at night. Real loud music. A lot of activity, both street and car activity, coming and going all night long. Noticing a lot of teenagers hanging out in the streets at all hours of the day and night.
What was going on here?
We can't accuse. All we can do is suspect that it was illegal drug activity. Just because people were coming and going, it's not like somebody coming to visit your house, but somebody coming and staying for maybe a few minutes and then leaving.
I've lived in Tacoma for 23 years. And last year, this did not look like my hometown.
Help for the worried residents on Oak Street is on the way.
We looked in 1987 and saw that things were starting to go in a very negative direction in this community.
Lyle Qasim, a maverick.
Demo,
former anti-war activist, former head of state mental health.
We need to be back in the office at 8:30.
Today, head of an agency called Safe Streets.
That we make sure that we have a good group,
right,
and we have police backup.
Right.
What was the idea behind all this?
The idea was that we had seen what's happening in Los Angeles. We didn't want to look like Los Angeles. We didn't want to look like Oakland. We didn't want to look like Newark. That was the idea. The idea was that we had seen the end of the movie, and we decided to change the script.
Qasim's job, organize neighborhoods to fight crime.
A tactic in one community may be to picket. A tactic in another community may be to get business organized, labor organized, the religious community organized, citizens on a block organized. It is, each one has its own prescription.
It's urban warfare, block by block.
You come here 2 months ago and these people would not walk out down this street.
Qasim can claim a victory on this street.
This is where it started off with a neighborhood that was tired of this. And these signs came up in these yards overnight. And all of a sudden it was like instant reaction.
Now here's some activity right down there at the house.
Rick right there.
Who is that?
Rick, he's the pusher.
This is was a crack house?
One time it was busted.
It was busted as a crack house?
Yeah.
And who's the fellow there now?
That's the owner. He doesn't live there anymore. He can't live in this neighborhood anymore. He can't do his business. Every single car that passes through here is tracked. You know, we keep track of it. We take down the license numbers and we discourage it.
It's basically a harassment of the guy, isn't it?
No, it is the harassment that occurs is when there are 50 cars driving through this neighborhood, creating unsafe conditions. I think the citizens...
Dropping pills on the gravel out here, drug paraphernalia, and the message is clear in this neighborhood. They're outnumbered.
Oh, come on in. My name is Ann Webster, and that's my husband Marty over there in the blue, and this is our home that you've come to. But
back on North Oak Street, residents are still in their battle to get rid of the suspected drug dealer.
I see them get out of the car. I see them get out with bags in the hand. I see them go to the truck and get out with small bags in the hand.
My wife came home. There was, 10 or 12 of them out on the front porch smoking something.
Something in a pipe. We have to have some recourse.
The heat's on the landlord.
After listening to what all the neighbors have to say, all of those things violate the lease that he signed. I said that everything has to be out by tomorrow, and that tomorrow evening I'm going to come by and change the locks. And if everything isn't out, then I'll just donate it to Goodwill.
After the owner had dropped off yet another eviction notice, we visited the occupant at 628 North Oaks, and he had news for the landlord and the neighbors.
I'm going to fight this because they have no proof that I've ever sold drugs. I don't sell drugs. I have my kids here in the house. I don't have any drug paraphernalia, drugs or anything, and the police have never raided this house for drugs or anything, so what proof do they have that I sell drugs?
Do you think all those people standing across the street there right now don't have a case against you?
None whatsoever. Circumstantial, not even circumstantial evidence.
But within hours of our interview, the suspected drug dealer slipped out the back door and hasn't come back. He is now believed to be in another neighborhood somewhere in the Tacoma area.
Here's the outline of one head. And here's the other. Twins.
Heard black.
I love myself, my family, my friends, and being off drugs for my first time. I love being clean and sober, my dog, and Michael Jordan.
I love my mom, and I love sobriety, and being able to tell myself I love me.
In the war on drugs, these are the walking wounded.
Are you scared?
They're being treated at Seattle's Ryther Child Center, kids from across Washington State.
We're here because chemical dependency has impacted our lives.
Teenagers with a problem once labeled adults only.
I got into dealing crack cocaine really bad right before I came in here, and I was dealing crank. It was kind of like a gang that I was in.
Her name is Katie. She's 16, going on 35. Angie is 15, Jerry's 16, Jonathan 19. We spent a night with them and their families, talking.
And what kind of drugs were you using?
And listening.
I've taken pot, I've taken alcohol, I've tried cocaine, I've tried mushrooms, I've tried acid, I've tried crystal. I've smoked opium once. Strange things like sucking air out of whipped cream bottles to get the nitrous oxide.
So here you are, 19 years old, hugging a teddy bear. Give me the theory behind it.
It's to, for a long time doing drugs, we stuffed our inner childs inside, especially since we started using, a lot of us started using at a young age.
You feel as if you've missed out on your childhood somehow?
Yeah, now I think that I've missed out on being a child, you know. But I mean, I chose that.
Let me just ask you a quick question. How does a 10-year-old kid actually get drugs?
I mean, I was dealing drugs to grade school kids.
Honest now.
I am honest. I was dealing drugs to kids that were in 4th grade. They were smoking crack cocaine. There's a lot of kids out there that do it even younger than that.
How you doing? You look so nice today.
Denise Coburn patrols the front lines of the war on drugs. Her beat this day is a classroom in an elementary school.
Team 1, are you ready? Okay. What does DARE stand for? What does DARE stand for?
Say it.
4 words.
Say it. Drug abuse resistance education.
Okay. 1 point there for Team 1.
You know, in this society, we like to think that education cures everything.
Okay, Team 2, are you ready?
There's no proof of that whatsoever.
So if there's no proof, does that mean that we shouldn't try?
And how many have seen people involved with drugs? Just about everybody in the class. You're all about, what, 11 years old?
I see it right down here in the corner of the playfield every day.
How can you tell me that there are people on school campuses on a regular basis who probably are selling drugs? Why are they there on a regular basis? Why aren't you doing something more than talking to kids about, you know, giving them little quizzes?
The only way we're going to reduce the drug use in this country is to reduce the demand, and the only way you're going to reduce the demand is by education. In my opinion, it's the only thing that we have left. We've tried everything else, and it hasn't worked.
Do kids pay attention to the cop coming into the school?
People come to show you all these drugs at school. I remember my friends stole the pot right out in front of the cops, you know?
Your buddy steals the pot?
Yes. I'm dead serious. And we went out and smoked it afterwards, just laughing about it, going, huh, great cops, huh? I thought it was just, you know, one big joke.
I mean, Richard Nixon, who was president probably before you guys were born, was talking about a war on drugs. Is there any way out of this thing?
It's a much bigger thing than stopping the drugs in Colombia. It's a much bigger thing than getting it off of the street. It's bigger than say no to drugs.
You're not going to stop anything from coming into this country if they want it in here. We've tried this for years, and we've never succeeded.
It's a symptom of everything that's going, and the general breakdown of our society and of our families. The thing that opened the door for our daughter's addiction is my husband and I are alcoholics. We're in recovery now. But she became what she saw in the home. You know, and her parents were addicts. We were alcoholics. Good job.
How about we have a bath? Want to have a bath? 1, 2, 3. Shoot!
18-month-old Jonathan's parents were addicts too, cocaine addicts. In this battle against drugs, he is a prisoner of war. New generation, new problems.
Hot. An 18-month-old child will be saying hot and bath. And, you know, he doesn't make any of the vowel consonant sounds like baba, mama. He says mama once in a while. And he doesn't remember things from one day to the next. Oh, face.
It occurs to me that while America is blaming the Colombians and the Bolivians and the drug dealers in our cities, maybe it's your fault. You know, the parents in this room.
I was raised by a single parent back when it was not fashionable. I was responsible for myself. I didn't do things because I knew I wasn't supposed to. I guess I figured since I went through it and I survived and I was responsible and I was a good kid, that I was raised my son the same way, he would do the same thing. And he was raised that same way, but he didn't do it.
Grandma, let me ask you a question. To some extent, are parents just too soft today?
Yeah, I think so at times, yes. I've seen it myself. The parents are too lenient. not enough emphasis put on responsibility of the child in the home. They start out that way, but then they don't enforce it.
Where were you when all this was going on?
It's real hard for me to say this, but I was a terrible mother. And the reason I was a terrible mother was because I was an alcoholic myself. But I can't change that.
We've all made mistakes. Some of them we can't do anything about. Some of them we can say we're sorry for and mean it. But let's take it day by day from here on, or hour by hour, and work towards the future.
I mean, you have the same problem everybody else has. You're addicted to drugs.
The children do battle.
You're gonna be okay.
The grown-ups crusade.
It's not nice having an addiction.
And after 2 months of group, family, and one-on-one treatment, these kids will go home. And 6 months after that, the Ryther Center estimates, less than half of them, less than half, will be drug-free.
For Most Improved, the Up and Coming Award for Jonathan.
Starting with you, Jonathan. What do you think? Honest, are you going to make it?
I don't know. I think it's going to be the toughest thing in my life.
This is a real hard-earned award, and it's a certificate of promotion from level 1 to level 2 for Jerry.
Jerry? What do you think?
I think I'll make it. Yeah, I do. Because I know I really want it. And I don't want the life I had no more because it don't work. Don't get you nowhere.
What do you hope for? You don't.
Of course, I think every parent hopes that they'll stay clean and sober. But I'm not going to walk out of here and tell her I expect her to stay clean and sober because I will not do that to her. She has the right to make her choices.
Well, that's a nice way of saying she has a right to kill herself.
Yeah, she does. I cannot control that.
Right?
Hmm?
She right?
Yeah, she's right. You know, I mean, it was my choice, you know, to use drugs. And everything in life is, you know, whatever I want to make of myself is my choice.
Angie?
I can't say 5 years from now I'm going to be sober. 5 years from now I could be dead. I could OD. I don't know. But for today I'm making the choice to stay sober.
She's doing a great job, and that's for Angie.
I'm making the choice to participate in treatment and try to get my life back together the best I can.
Hope you succeed.
People in Tacoma are proud of their thriving city, as well they should be. And it's not that the drug problem is so much worse in Tacoma than anywhere else. In fact, the number of drug arrests there is only slightly higher than the average for cities the same size, and several are worse. But the citizens of Tacoma, Washington have had enough. Many of them no longer feel that the people who are supposed to protect them, the police and the courts, can do the job alone. And they can't wait for help from the other Washington to win the war on Main Street. I'm Dan Rather. That's 48 hours for this week. Now, here's a look ahead to next week.
Magic money.
Credit cards.
Foreclosure.
Bankruptcies. Money trouble.
For me, nothing is ever enough. About 105. We're all of them for different things.
Americans overspending.
Just like everyone that's addicted, I think I can stop it at any time.
Over borrowing.
Banks aren't in the business to lose money. I don't like to go home empty-handed.
I'd never thought this could happen to us.
Over their heads.
We've never made house payment on time. It's like our whole world's coming down on us.
Next week.
Later tonight, Greg fights for his life as he's slowly poisoned while Danny pressures Val into letting him adopt the twins on Knott's Landing. But first, Daniel and his brother fall into the murderous web of a prostitute serial killer on Island Sun. Next.